Hello Sagittarius friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my February 2020 horoscope report for you. This is a month where we have more than double the sweet aspects compared to the salty ones, and whenever we have a month like that, it sets the tone for sweetness, which is wonderful. And it really helps the Sag profile because when the personal planets move through Pisces, which Venus was doing it in part of January, and the early part of February will also be happening. And then Mercury is going to be doing retrograde in Pisces, from February into March. And then the Sun's going to get into Pisces at the end of February. So those placements make squares with our Sag placements. And the more Sag placements you have, the more that that square energy is going to affect us. So we're going to talk about the good, bad, and ugly here, okay? I'm an optimist and an alchemist, and I fully intend to transform all of the challenges that may come from the Pisces placements, and they do, and they will come. When I look back on all the times of the year when, every year when Pisces moves, planets move through and make these kind of obnoxious angles to our Sag placements, that it has been pretty stressful. It's not my favorite time generally. But when I've looked back at it, I did something with it because it was forcing me to deal with something that I had been avoiding or just wasn't paying attention to. So you will find this. You will find that certain things, like you've got all these balls in the air and you're doing this, you're doing that, how Sagittarius do, and there are those certain areas that you're not addressing. And it seems like those areas come up at this time with Pisces. But fortunately for us, and this is like very exciting, the way that the Pisces placements are distributed is that they're not all happening at once like they do sometimes. They're kind of strung along. It does make it a little bit longer that we have it going on, but it can make it a little bit less intense. Also because Venus is getting into Aries. That's going to boost things for us because any planets that move through Aries make those kissy angles, that kissy angle of the trine to our placements. So between the middle of January and the middle of February, relationships and money might be under duress as Venus is in Pisces squaring your Sag placements. But as Venus gets into Aries, then all of the stress that came from that time could start to rectify, and you could get on a much better path and genuinely heal from whatever challenges that came. So I'm putting out the warning for Sagittarius to carry your emotional umbrella. There's going to be some things you need buffering from in that time. But because of all of the sweet aspects, because Mars is going to continue to move through Sag for part of February, which is our own sign, because we've got this Aries boost with Venus, and because we have the Sun moving through Aquarius, all of those are protectors for us in our endeavors and sort of shielding us from flack from these Pisces placements. Now, the Pisces transits aren't all bad for us. They can bring us into more quiet and peace, help us to get our sacred space more worked out, bring us, to art projects and, just quiet personal pursuits is what I call them. And that can be really refreshing. It can also be a time of rest after this major push. If you've been following my reports and listening to my advice about pushing through the holidays in December and pushing through January and like getting all your big things done, then this would be a time where you kick back and you put it on cruise control and you let the wall of retrogrades as they start this month and extend through the rest of 2020, just kind of kick back, enjoy the fruits of your labor, and, start to do more stuff in the backdrop where you can take a little break and you have permission to take your foot off the gas. Sometimes Sagittarius need that. They don't want it, right? Because we want to be like all the time, but sometimes you really need it, and the evidence of how much you need it often comes up with these Pisces placements. So here it's cycling back around to something that is challenging, that will bring challenges, but it's a sweet thing, it's a necessary thing, it's a balancing force for the excessive behaviors of Sagittarius people. We don't always know when to say when, we don't know when to stop, we burn the candle at both ends, and it starts to catch up with us at this time of the year, after the whole holiday push and, doing all of these things. So it's time to take a little rest now, and it's time for you, and it's time to, just kind of take stock of what's already happened and quietly feel your way through the things that are happening to make plans for the future. Real estate is likely going to come up for all Saggies. Those of you who are November born, you might see this earlier in the month. And then those of us, as we go later in the sign, this will get stronger towards the middle and end of the month. But the presence of Venus in the 4th house is, and this started for the earlier placements towards the end of February. And then it's just kind of progressing along as we get later in the sign. But this month carries it for all Sag placements, a strong energy of real estate. If you want to refinance your home, December would have been great for that. January would have been great for that, depending on when you're watching this. First week of February is one of my favorite times of the whole month because you don't have the strong retrograde energies filtering in yet. Because Mercury goes retrograde on the 17th, the shadow period starts on the 2nd. And we've got these sweet aspects in the first week that are just amazing. So if you have to refinance your house, if you're trying to buy a home, if you're making plans to buy a home in the future, information may come in that can make that happen for you. It's a great month for doing research about whatever you want to do with your home. If you want to do home improvements and you're listening to this early, that's part of why I give these to you a month early. January, the end of December, January will be a great time to get estimates and commit to work that has to start. If you haven't been able to do that in January, early February is more desirable. But if you didn't do it and you have to do it, just kind of know that you might have some delays from the retrogrades, but you still have support in the chart to get these home improvement things done. Figure out ways to utilize your home. Maybe you're going to Airbnb a room. Maybe you're going to rent out your home when you're not there or part-time. Maybe you're going to rent it out full-time. Any pieces along those lines of things that you have to do. Maybe you're going to sell your house. Those are all coming into picture at this time, and you might find that your home, whether you own it or not, could turn out to be a really nice financial resource for you that you either hadn't seriously thought about before or you hadn't taken the steps to implement moving in that direction. Apply your usual Sag flexibility to your viewpoints about your home and real estate at this time, and also your family, by the way, because this space accentuated by homes and real estate is also the family space. So you and your family members might be deciding how you're going to make the most of family resources. You might be taking stock of all of the things that you have and how you can come together as a family for the greater good. So there can be a lot of, challenges because of the fact that the energy is in Pisces at the beginning of the month. But that can turn to more sweetness as the energies get into Aries because they're not as emotional. Emotion is not easy when you're doing business negotiations. Emotion is not always easy when you're dealing with familial circumstances or situations. So if things are a little bit dicey from that perspective earlier in the month, then know that as we get later in the month, that boost from Venus and Aries is going to really help you. And that can also boost your relationship space too, or love, because Pisces planets or movement tend to bring up relationship issues for Sagittarius because of the angle that it makes to our placements. And so once Venus gets in Aries, those things can be more rectified. Now, on the topic of relationships, I have something exciting I want to start talking about with you. Okay, you may notice that all except 2 of the archetypal energies we speak about with the planetary placements in astrology are all male. Okay, they're male archetypes, and the female archetypes don't have equal voice in the reports. The star goddesses have been speaking to me for years now. They've been preparing me to bring out their messages to start to have more equal weight in the astrological assisting that I do, and globally as well. So one of the goddesses that is wanting to speak first is Juno. She's a star goddess. She's moving through she rules relationships, and she's moving through the sign of relationships, Libra. So for all zodiac members, Juno is speaking to us of the importance of key relationships, how you can be more synergistic and more move forward more when you're binding your energies with other people. This may take some work, and the Pisces things like we're talking about could be factoring in here, saying, okay, you got to do a little work to get into some deeper talks and working things out so that you can move forward for the greater good of all, whether it's your family members, your friends, your clients, whatever it is. Moving deeper in your relationships is part of what Juno wants from us now. And also understanding ways that we can help each other that can create synergy and not work against each other. Now, for those of you who are November born, she is bringing extra blessings and extra whispers to your friendships and your social circles, including social media. Okay, so partnering with someone to help you get into that scene, or you, if you're an influencer, you merging with other people, or you getting an influencer to help you with your product. Something like that, where you're getting internet assistance. Maybe it's an internet helper. And by the way, I have an amazing internet helper if you need that. You can email on my website, anniehelpsyou.com. But so like anything involving internet, anything involving groups, bringing the spirit of cooperation amongst groups and community projects for you November born, or like 0 to 9 degrees if you're watching for your moon or rising in Sag, because this report is equally for you if your moon is in Sag or rising is Sag. But you early people there, the 0 to 9 degrees or November born, she's really moving into this sector where she's saying key relationships. If your friends try to say you need to meet this person, do it. If a networking contact is trying to connect you with someone else, take it seriously. It could be a segue to something else, even if nothing comes from the actual contact. Connections from the past can come up in a huge way. If you find a business card and you get that hunch, of somebody that you met a while ago, Juno is speaking about things like that. For the December born Sages, and for 10 to 29 degrees if you're watching for your moon or rising sign, Juno is speaking more specifically for your work, your business, your place out in the world, and with things having to do with your father figures. There's been this theme that I've been speaking about for these father figures, and some of this is global because of the energies in Capricorn that we're all experiencing, every sign, but some of it has been for Sagittarius specifically because of the way aspects are joining with money and the things we talked about in January. So Juno is working on this as well, saying, do some work with your dad, heal the stuff with your dad, heal the stuff with your family, make friends with your boss, heal your authority figure issues. Maybe people didn't use their energy in the right way in your past. See what you can do to heal that so that you can attract people who are higher up in what you're trying to do. You can attract cooperation from them instead of them working against you, if you've had that experience at all. So anything having to do with your work, your career, your relationships with father, your place out in the world, Juno is speaking to you, especially December born 10 to 29 degrees, of the importance of working together with other people, and that you don't have to do it alone. And the places where you don't enjoy doing things or they're harder for you, you can take off that hat. Sagittarius wear many hats. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. When I was refurbishing houses as my work, which I did for 10 years, which got me out of my corporate job, which made me be able to get into this stuff, which is a whole other story. But, I was learning plumbing. I was, redoing wood floors. I didn't know how to do any of this stuff before, and we just put that hat on. Sagittarius are really flexible like that. But the messages from the universe that are speaking to us over recent times and in the future are saying, be more discerning with the things that you take on and get help from other people, and especially as it relates to your work sector, your place out in the world, and your father figures. Okay, so let's see what else. We've got energy highlighting your third house, which brings mobility. The third house has to do with your cars, your devices, your phones, your computers, things like that. And so you might have those things brought up. Also, the Mercury retrograde tends to bring those things up because Mercury rules those things. So if you have to get a new car or a new device, go for the first week of February. That's going to be your best bet to have the most clear energy away from the retrograde wall that's going to, get stronger as we get further into February. If you have to do it later in February, you got to follow your flow, just really carefully look at the contracts, know that what you're thinking is long-term might be shorter term, look at the fine print, and opt for flexible arrangements over very rigid or long-term commitments. But in that first few days, locking in something long-term, that's one of your last launch periods. And so you can use it for getting the car that you want. You can use it for getting rid of your car if someone is, going to be carless, any big decisions you have to make with your mobility, if you need surgeries, things like that. Picking a surgery date is way more complicated than I can go into in the general horoscopes. But in general, I like not having planets retrograde, especially Mercury, for a surgery. So if you've got to get something done, by the first few days of the month, by the 4th or so, would be a better window, possibly, depending on your situation. So you can feel into that. And that's a mobility issue as well. Like if you have to do something with your knee or your hip or something like that. So in general, I think a really exciting month. I'm excited to see these factors that I've listed as softening or buffering those Pisces doggers that we're going to have stringing along. Even though I don't want you to be afraid, okay? Sometimes when I say that there's going to be some challenges, people get afraid and they start to worry. Don't worry, conflict happens. You've gotten through it your whole life. And now when it comes again, you can come through with flying colors as well, and you have a lot of support to do that. That's the biggest message that I want to let you know, is that the challenges that may come, you've got a lot of other things going on. You just have to push through. Stay optimistic, stay flexible, and stay centered and stay well rested. So I hope you have a wonderful month. Definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter, where you will get my written general transit report, including all the sweet dates, all the salty dates, what the aspects are, what you can expect from those aspects, and plus a general overview of the month. This February edition of my newsletter is a special edition because I have a bonus retrograde section helping to prepare you. I have all the dates of all of the personal planet retrogrades and their shadow periods, and some other ways to help you understand the retrogrades and prepare for this big wall that extends from February through the whole rest of 2020. You also get my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine for free when you sign up for my free email newsletter. If you want to be a professional astrologer, I have a comprehensive course that will blow your mind, that can bring you from ground level to professional astrologer in a very short amount of time. If you're interested in astrology just for your own personal purposes and to help your friends and family, it's equally as good for that. So you can see that on my website, anniehelpsyou.com, or you can go to beastropro, beastropro.com, and you can see more about that course there. Definitely check out lumelife.com, L-U-M-E, life.com. That's my new school, Luminous Life Multiversity. I'm bringing new teachers in. My mission is to have free courses available. As an enrollee of the school, you get access to the free courses. So we'll be adding more of those over time. There are some in development currently. So you can also see the tuition-based courses that are there. If you want written horoscopes from me, go to cozybysweetstarlight.com. All of the links I'm giving you are underneath the video in the notes. So if you forget them, you can just click through there. I do written horoscopes at cozybysweetstarlight.com, and I also have astrology for wellness blogs and all kinds of other healthy lifestyle things there. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.